Hello, everyone. It's Fiona Marks here from fionamarks.com, and I am back sharing a chart with you today. Normally, when we're in this space, we're sharing the themes from a reading, but in this case, actually, we're just looking at the main shape and pattern of this chart, the outstanding features. For example, if you've never looked at your chart before, you might want to know, where is the sun, where's the moon, where's your ascendant. So let's have a look at this chart and see what are some of the unique and outstanding features. To get us started, let's remember when we're looking at this style of chart that right up the top here, in the second box on the top row, is Aries. It's always there in this style of chart, and the star signs move clockwise from that. So Aries, then Taurus, coming up to the first corner, Gemini, then Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and along the bottom here, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, coming up the hill for Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So our zodiac stays still. And then we have each of the planets here represented by these letters. If we start at the top left corner, we've got Rahu in Pisces. That is an eclipse point or a node. We have the moon in Taurus. Then we have Mars in Cancer. We have K2 and Saturn together in Virgo. K2 is the opposing node for Rahu up there in Pisces. Then in Libra, we have Venus, and Mercury is in Scorpio. And the final planets, Jupiter and the Sun, are in Sagittarius. And then the last thing to know about reading the chart is that the numbers here tell us where this person was on planet Earth when all of this happened. And that is marked by the number 1 representing the ascendant and becoming the first house. So then, as you can see, those move around clockwise, second house, third, fourth, fifth, etc., all the way around the chart, and they mark the places where the karma is going to express itself. So now we have a bit of a feel for the chart. What can we see straight away? We can see that this is a Leo ascendant. Leo, the star sign ruled by the sun. Let me just pop that up for you, Leo ascendant. So we know that this person, the sun is going to be an important energy for this person, represents something about their life force. And the sun, of course, is the bright center of our solar system around which all the other planets orientate themselves. So it kind of it stays there in the middle, and everybody else has to organize around the sun. And in this chart, the sun is here in Sagittarius, the 5th house, with Jupiter. Now, this is a very beautiful placement because the 1st house and the 5th house are trinal houses. That means they have a sense of grace about them. Things just happen and work. There's a sort of flow there. So very beautiful that the sun has gone to Sagittarius, the 5th house, and is with Jupiter, the owner of the 5th house. And that would indicate something around creativity and legacy for this person. They may have an interest in creating, leaving a legacy, and perhaps having children, as the 5th house represents children, and Jupiter is also the planet that represents children. So I've got a couple of similar indicators there. And this also brings up that Jupiter rules as well Pisces. And here it is in Sagittarius. It's a very spiritual planet. And this person, there's a lot of, we'll get to it in a minute, but a lot of patterns around the enlightenment or evolutionary path, that moksha path. And here we see it that the ascendant lord, the sun, has gone into a dharmic house, the 5th house, with a moksha lord. So we are expecting that this person will be called to be interested in what is evolution and how does one transcend through the experience of life. And perhaps now is a good time to point out where we're seeing that. So we definitely got the 8th Lord with the 1st Lord. So that's one combination. When we're looking for the moksha path or the enlightenment path, we're interested in the number 4, the number 8, and the number 12. And so what we can see is that we have 1 and 8 together here in the 5th house of grace. So we're expecting that moksha connection. Also, we can see that for a Leo ascendant, Mars is a very important planet. It rules Scorpio Aries, rules the 4th house and the 9th house. So that other dharmic house. And it has gone into the 12th house. So it's bringing all of that energy into another moksha house. So we see that there's quite a few patterns in the chart. They're going to interest the person over their whole lifetime in transcending, seeing the spiritual, transcending the suffering of the material world. Okay, so that was a little chat about Leo and the sun there in the 5th house. What else? The moon is up here in Taurus in its exaltation sign. Now, actually, the moon is not exalted because that needs to be in the first 3 degrees of Taurus. It's a little bit further along in the 20s somewhere. But still, the moon works very well in Taurus, and we think about that because the moon is so associated with our emotions. And in Taurus, it finds that stable home, that earth sign, that fixed sign. So it gives the moon a strong foundation for its emotions. However, having said that, this moon is a little bit isolated here. So it's good that it's in a very fixed, strong sign because it's not getting a lot of support on either side. So sometimes this person may feel that their emotions are a little too much and they're a bit isolated. They don't have that support around them for their emotions. And then we also have Mars here, we've already spoken about in Cancer, in the sign of emotions. And Mars finds it difficult to be in that sign of emotions because it's so watery. It's hard to have a firm footing to take action on. So we can see that there are both indicators supporting the emotions and that moon energy, but we're tempering that as well with the reality that our sense of taking action might get too dispersed, too watery. We don't have a firm footing, and we may feel that the emotions are making that hard to be clear cut about things. We just spoke about Mars. Now, we also have Jupiter, we've mentioned, in its own home, and Venus in its own home. So these are very strong positions, comfortable places for these planets to do their work. So that's very good luck. Now, another feature that jumps out as us straight away is that we have K2 and Saturn in the 2nd house. When a planet is with a node, as it is here in the 2nd house, we know that there's kind of a teaching relationship between these energies, and that K2 is separating Saturn from its sense of security and teaching the person that they're going to be okay no matter what happens. No matter whether it feels like they're not being recognized for their authority or their security, but they're coming from a place of being ready now to let go of that sense of authority and sense of security. So life this is taking place in the 2nd house of our immediate family, of resources. And the person may experience that those resources and that immediate family, there may be causes of separation. That's what K2 does there. But they're going to find inside themselves a way to be okay with that. They're going to find that strength. So that is K2 Saturn in the 2nd house. Now, another strong shape in everybody's chart, isn't it, is the Rahu K2 axis. And for this chart, it's between the second house and the eighth house, and between Virgo and Pisces. And so this tells us a few things about this person's direction in life, that as we spoke about already with K2, there may be some letting go of the family, the immediate family, some letting go of those physical resources, material resources over the lifetime, and an interest in finding that inner place where no matter what happens, I am okay. Now, that might not be the first thing that they, discover or learn, but that life is going to give them the opportunity to find that inner resources, and also to ask for resources from outside the immediate family. So this person may receive support from other people's money in the eighth house. Also, in terms of signs, there's a movement away from Virgo, that earth sign, and with resources, towards this 12th sign of Pisces and the spiritual and the transcendent. So the person may start off with a lot of resources in life, and may find that for them, meaning is coming from that more spiritual, less material world. And then there's a beautiful balance of stress and ease in this chart. The stress that we can see that jumps out is that here is the ascendant, and on either side of the ascendant, we have the two big malefics. We've got Mars, and we've got Saturn. And just as well, we've thrown in K2. So this tells us that around the person, the first house, them, their body, their life path, there is this pressure coming from each side. So life is going to, give some challenges to this person. But we remember that these malefic planets, although they're challenging, they give us the experience to back ourselves, and to learn that we can rely on ourselves, like to test and prove to ourselves how strong we really are. And we have to remember that also this ascendant is the sun. So it's up for the test, and it's in the fifth house of grace with Jupiter. So this is definitely a cause of stress, but the sun is in a good position to respond to that. And then we have some real signs of grace and support. We've already talked about that the moon is in its exaltation sign, in this very supportive place of Taurus, and that it, not only that, it is the 10th. It's in the 10th house, which is the brightest house in the sky. It's the 10th house is right at the top of the sky when we look up, and it was on its way to being full. So in a few days, or maybe 1-2 days after this birth, the moon was full. So it would have been a very bright moon, waning benefic moon there. So having a benefic on the 10th house by itself, not being bothered by other planets, has a power to it. And also it's in a relationship where it's 8 houses from Jupiter, which Jupiter is also in its own home. So that's, these two benefics are having a good distance from each other, a good conversation with each other. So that is a source of support. But then there's a very brilliant yoga in this chart, which is that from the moon's perspective, it has a benefic in the 6th house, which is Venus. It has a benefic in the 7th house, which is Mercury. It has a benefic in the 8th house, which is Jupiter. So it's got the 3 benefic planets all there in position 6, 7, and 8, really helping us with the 6th house of enemies, to have a benefic there, easing any enemies that we come across. Having a benefic 7 houses from the moon creating those benefic partners for us to interact with. And Jupiter, 8 houses from the moon, resources from other people, other people's money and support from the moon's perspective. So if we read the chart from the moon, from our personality and our emotions, we see that what a graceful placement of these planets along the bottom of the chart. So those are some observations about the shape of this chart without getting into the ins and outs too much of what they mean. Perhaps a final thought to leave with is that the sun goes into this graceful house, the Dharma house, the 5th house, and it is, we have to remember, exalted in the 9th house, letting us know that for a Leo ascendant, finding one's purpose and using one's personality, one's light, one's essence to light the way for others to live a purposeful and meaningful life is very satisfying for a Leo ascendant. And in this particular chart, when you look at the Navamsha, that is the chart of meaning, the sun is in that position in Aries, and the chart remains a Leo ascendant. So when we look at this person's what will help their life path and the sun, we really feel this energy around the dharmic houses and the meaningful houses. So, and we can see that other factors in the chart are also encouraging this person towards seeing meaning that is beyond the material experience. So, very powerful path for this person's sun, and a joy to watch. All right, I hope you enjoyed our tour around the shape of this chart, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, stay well. Bye.